Hey, my name is Brittany Bryden. I am a yoga and movement teacher, and I am here to hopefully inspire you to get some movement into your day. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you are returning, thank you so much for being here. We're just going to do a full body, kind of more on the power yoga side today, one that you can do at any point in the day. I hope that you leave this class, as I hope you leave all of my classes, feeling great, and thank you so much for being here. Let's get started. We're going to meet on our hands and knees and table. Turning to face the front of the mat. Come onto your hands and knees, but turn your fingers to face the sides of the mat. Bring the back of the wrists together, press down through all of the fingers, and then shift your weight side to side, forwards, backwards. Let's just give our hands and our wrists a little love. Separating the wrists now, and turn your fingers around so your fingers face your knees and thumbs face out. This might be really intense, so if it is, bring your knees closer to the fingers. Otherwise, maybe you can even walk your knees further back. So you're going to do the same thing you did before and just shift your weight in all different directions. And then send your bum back towards the heels, and as you do that, you're going to start to lift the thumbs up, but press the other four fingers down. Ooh. And then come onto your fingertips, stretch out the fingers, and sit on the heels. Come off the hands and give your hands a good shake. Come back into your table, shoulders over top of the wrists. From here, keep your arms straight, and we're just going to move through the shoulder blades for a moment. So core on, stabilize the spine, that doesn't change. You're going to lower your chest down towards the floor. So you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades together in retraction. Now find protraction. So you're going to spread the shoulder blades apart. I want you to envision like my hand is in between your shoulder blades and you're breathing up into my hand. And then go back into retraction. Lower the chest down towards the floor. Bring the shoulder blades towards one another. And then protract, spread the shoulder blades apart. One more time. Retract, lower the chest down. And then protract. Now keep the protraction. You're going to tuck your toes under. Lift your knees just an inch above the floor. Just an inch. So make sure you're not collapsing through the low back or the chest. Brace to the core. And even though you're holding the shape, don't hold your breath. Lower the knees down to the ground. Untuck the toes so you can bring your big toes together. Child's pose. Send the bum back towards the heels and walk your hands further forwards. Close down the eyes. Feel your breath moving in and out of the nose. And then bring your shoulders back over top of the wrists. Find that protraction through the shoulder blades. Tuck your toes under and lift your knees just an inch above the floor again. Now I want you to feel like you're dragging your hands to your feet and vice versa. Hold for another 3, for 2. Lower the knees down, untuck the toes, send the bum back towards the heels, child's pose. And then one more time. Shoulders come over top of the wrists. Protract through the shoulder blades, tuck your toes under, lift the knees just an inch above the floor. You're holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and then 1. Lift your hips up and back for downward dog. Walk the legs out, so bend one knee, straighten the other, and just shift side to side. Relax around your neck. And be very mindful that you're actually using the hands rather than rolling to the outer edge of the wrists. Lift your heels up nice and high, bend the knees. Walk forwards until you come towards the top of your mat. So feet will be about hip distance apart, maybe wider. Bend your knees so you can really allow that hinge from the hips to happen. Take your hands and reach for either elbow. So you're going to pull the forearms down. This is a great place to close the eyes. Add a gentle sway. Release both hands down to the ground. Bend into the right leg. Rotate your hips towards the left and reach your left arm up towards the ceiling. Left hand comes down. You're going to bend into the left leg. Rotate your hips to the right and reach your right arm up. Right hand comes down. Bend both knees and slowly roll yourself up. And once you come to the top, reach both arms up towards the ceiling. Hinge from the hips and fold forwards into your legs. Fingertips to the shins, lift up halfway, send the crown of the head forwards. Set your hands down and step back, downward dog. Come forwards in a plank. So shoulders over top of the wrist. You might have to walk your feet back a little bit. And think of that same work that you did in that hovering table. So crown of the head reaching forwards, because if you let the head drop, the body will follow. Brace in through the core. Engage the inner thighs and the glutes. And then set your knees down to the ground. Externally rotate from the shoulders. Bend the elbows, and nice and slow, you're going to take 5 counts to lower to the floor. For 5, so the elbows will graze the side ribs. 4, 3, 2. And then once you lower down, press the tops of feet on the ground. Take your hands as high off the floor as you can as you squeeze the elbows inward center. Engage the glutes, baby cobra. Lift the chest up without pushing your chin forwards. Keep hugging your elbows into the side. Lower down, ground your hands, tuck your toes under, engage everything. And you're going to take 5 counts. Try not to rush it, but take 5 counts to press back up. Ready? For 5, 4, 3, 2, and then 1. Come back into downward dog. Bring your big toes to touch. Lift your heels up nice and high, but instead of letting your shoulders come forward, send the hips further back. Take your right leg up towards the ceiling, bend your top knee and rotate your hips towards the right without flaring through your ribs. So pull your ribs in, shoulders square to the ground. You can bend that left knee as much as you need here. And then square off the hips. So straighten your right leg, 3-legged dog, right toes face the floor. Bring your shoulders over top of the wrist as your right knee comes to the upper left arm. So make sure that right hip's not dropping down or that your right shoulder is going way in front of the left. Now tap your wrist with that right knee and then pick it back up the arm. 3-legged dog, right leg up towards the ceiling. Shoulders come forwards over top of the wrist again. Right knee high up on the upper right arm. So find that protraction through your shoulder blades. Tap your right knee to the floor, so right behind the wrist. Pick the knee back up the arm, protract through the shoulder blades, and then 3-legged dog, right leg up. This time coming center, so pull that right knee in towards the chest, bring the shoulders as far forwards as you can. Step your right foot down beside your right thumb. Bend your back knee, left knee comes to the floor. Low lunge, both arms come forwards and up. And in this variation, right knee tracking right over top of the heel, send the tailbone down. Rib cage is stacked right over top of the pelvis. So as you reach the arms up, make sure the arms aren't going way behind you so that you're not pushing the ribs forwards. Lift your left knee just a little bit off the floor, just a little bit. Now feel like you're pulling your feet towards one another. Lean your chest forwards for runner's lunge. Sweep the arms down and back. Straighten your back leg and bring that left heel right above the toes. We're going to move a little bit quicker. So bend your left knee, hover, bring your arms forwards and up. And then runner's lunge, lean the chest forward, sweep your arms down and back. Back knee hovers, arms come forwards and up. And then runner's lunge. One more time, bend the back knee, reach your arms up. And then runner's lunge and pause here. So make sure your chest isn't sinking on that front thigh. Drop your back heel to the center of the mat, windmill your arms open and come into warrior 2. So as you bend on that front leg, feel like you're pressing the knee open and root down through the outer edge of your back foot. So see if you can get the hips a little bit lower. And now straighten the front leg, and as you do that, reach both arms up to the ceiling. And then come back into the warrior 2. Bend on the front leg, arms up to the side. Straighten the leg, reach both arms up. And then warrior 2. One more time, reach up. And then come into warrior 2. Now as you come to stand, reach both arms up. And then bring both heels in, turn your feet out, arms up to the side. Bend the knees, lower the hips, and keep pressing those knees open. Come up to stand, reach both arms up. And then lower back down, arms up to the side. Make sure those knees aren't collapsing in. Straighten the legs, reach up. And then lower down. 2 more, reach up. And then lower. 1 more, reach up. And then lower, pause here, relax around those shoulders. And then as you straighten the legs this time, bring your feet parallel, take your hands onto your hips, lengthen the spine, lift the crown of the head up, and then fold forwards and towards your legs. So as the hands come to the ground, remind yourself to relax around the neck and the shoulders. Then come onto your fingertips, lengthen the spine. Pivot to face the front of the mat. So your hands are going to frame your right foot, you're on the ball of your left foot. Push off your back foot and step forward to the top of the mat, feet hip distance apart. As you root down through the heels, bend the knees, hinge from the hips, lower the bum down, and bring your hands together in prayer for chair. So you always want your core on supporting the spine. So get a little bit lower, knees tracking over top of the second toe. And then come up to stand, reach both arms up, fold forwards into the legs. Fingertips to shins, lift up halfway. Set the hands down, step back, downward dog. Coming forwards into your plank, shoulders over top of the wrists. So this time as you lower, you have the option to keep the knees up, but lower with control. So bend the elbows, lower for 5, 4, 3, 2, and then come down. Tops of feet press in the mat, elbows hug in a center. Baby cobra, chest forwards and up, and take your hands as high off the floor as you can and squeeze those elbows in a center. Lower down, ground the hands, tuck your toes under. Again, it's up to you whether the knees are up or down, but you're taking 5 counts to press up. Go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Oh, downward dog. Big toes come to touch. Heels lift up nice and high as the hips go further back. Left leg to the ceiling. Bend that top knee, rotate your hips towards the left. Bend that bottom knee as much as you need. Square off the hips, straighten your left leg, toes face the ground. Cross it underneath you, bring the left knee to the right arm, shoulders come right over top of the wrist without dropping that left hip. Now tap the right knee behind the wrist, pick it back up the arm, three-legged dog, left leg up. Left knee to the upper left arm, find that protraction through the shoulder blades. Tap your left wrist, pick it back up the arm, three-legged dog. Come forwards now, bring your knee into the chest, bring your shoulders as far forwards as you can, then step down beside your left thumb. Feet are on separate tracks, bend your back knee and set the knee to the floor. Low lunge, sweep your arms forwards and up, being very mindful to not let the rib cage come forwards. Rib cage stacked right over top of the pelvis and the tailbone down, arms aren't way behind you. Tucking those back toes under and then lift your right knee just a little bit off the floor. Runner's lunge, lean your chest forward, sweep the arms down and back. Being mindful that the shoulders aren't rounding up towards the ears. Bend your right knee, hover, arms come forwards and up. And then runner's lunge, lean the chest forwards, arms sweep down and back. 3 more, bend the back knee, arms up. And then runner's lunge. For 2, reach up. And runner's lunge. One more time, reach up. And then runner's lunge, pause. Keep pulling those feet in towards one another. Drop that back heel to the center of the mat. Windmill the arms open and come into warrior 2, keeping that bend of the front leg. Root down through the outer edge of that right foot. See if you can get the hips a little bit lower. Then straighten the front leg, reach both arms up. Warrior 2. Straighten the leg, reach up. And then warrior 2. Again, reach up. Warrior 2. One more time, reach up. And then warrior 2. Now this time you're going to come to stand, reach up. Bring both heels in a center, turn your feet out, bend the knees, got a squat. So as you lower the hips down, arms out to the side, press the knees open. And then come up to stand, reach both arms up. Lower down, arms out to the side, press the knees open, and then come up to stand. 3 more, lower down, come up. For 2, and then come up. 1 more, and then come up. Bring your feet parallel, hands on the hips, lengthen the spine. Wide-legged forward fold, fold into your legs. Just make sure you're not taking all your weight back. Lifting up to the inner thighs. And coming onto the fingertips, lengthen the spine. Pivot to face the front of the mat. So hands frame your left foot, you're on the ball of your right foot. Stepping forwards, feet hip distance apart. Chair, bend the knees, lower the hips down, hands come together in prayer. Core on, stabilize the spine. Can you get a little bit lower? And then come up to stand, reach both arms up and fold into the legs. Fingertips to shins, lift up halfway. Set your hands down, step back, downward dog. Bring your shoulders over top of the wrists, come into plank. And then this time you're gonna lower down onto your forearms. So you can either press the palm of the hands into the ground or you can choose to interlace the hands. Either way, as you press the forearms down, find that protraction. So that slight dome, the upper back. Breathe. I'm saying this to you as much as I'm saying it to me. And then lower your knees to the floor. Press the tops of feet in the mat. Sphinx. You're going to bring your chest forwards and up and feel like you're pulling your elbows towards your ribs. And then lower down. Flip over onto your backs. As you come onto your backs, just pull both knees in towards your chest. Rock side to side. Now, bring both hands behind the back of the head. Lift your chest towards your thighs, but elbows are wide. From here, bring your knees over top of the hips and shins parallel towards the ceiling. So root the pelvis into the ground. If this is way too much to have the chest lifted, then keep the back on the floor and hands on the mat, framing your hips. From here, you're gonna hinge from your left hip, lower the left heel down to a hover, and then bring the leg back up. Inhale, lower the right heel, and using the exhale to pull the leg back up. Now you're gonna keep going side to side on your own, and you can choose to straighten the leg that's being lowered. And I just want you to find your own pace with your breath. So be very mindful that you're not letting the low back and mid back peel off the ground. Keep the pelvis rooted to the floor. We'll do 4 more. For 4, 3, for 2, 1 more. Bring the hands down on the floor, framing the hips if they're not already. Heels come to the floor. Lower the back down, and instead of the heels being tight to the glutes, I want you to walk your heels forwards a little bit. So you have about a foot or 2 distance between your glutes and the heels. The toes, dorsiflex, up towards the ceiling. So as you drive the heels onto the floor, take an inhale. Nice full breath. And then using the exhale, you're gonna pick the hips up towards the ceiling and feel like you're dragging your heels to the glutes, ribs in. Inhale, lower the hips down. Exhale, pull them, lift the hips up. Inhale to lower. Exhale, lift. For 3, 2, 1 more. And then lower down. And then this time, bring your feet off the ground, shins parallel to the ceiling. Reach your arms up towards the ceiling and you'll keep your back on the floor. Palm of the hands face one another. Take your left leg forward so you can either bring that heel to a hover with the knee bend or you can choose to straighten the leg. Reach your right arm back and hover your right thumb. And then when you exhale, come back to where you started. Pull it in. Now your inhale, you're taking your right leg forwards, reach your left arm back. And then exhale, pull it in. Keep going. For 4, 3, 2. Last one. Heels to the ground where they were before, hands on the floor, framing your hips. Take that breath in. Exhale, pick it up. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. 3 more. 2. 1 more. And then slowly lower yourself down. Bring your feet together, let the knees fall open, and just take the arms up and over the head. So as the arms come to the ground, you're going to reach for either your wrist, your elbows, or take your arms out into a V shape. Shut down the eyes. Letting the tongue just rest on the roof of the mouth. And feel the breath moving in and out of the nose. Making that exhale nice and long. Activating that parasympathetic response. And pull your knees in a center. Just take your arms up to the side in a Y shape, in a T shape, and then let your knees just rock side to side. And then next time your knees fall over to the right, you can leave the legs in the shape that they fall in, or you can bring your knees closer together. Just close down the eyes and let the head fall wherever is most comfortable for the neck. And changing sides. Bring your knees over to the left. Reaching that right arm out. Coming back to center. Hug both knees in towards your chest, wrapping the arms around the shins. Lift your chest towards your thighs, give yourself a big squeeze. And then let it go. Take the legs long out on the floor. Rest one hand on your heart, one hand on the belly. Let the legs be heavy. And then allowing the rest of the body to just sink into the floor. And before you rush off and go back into the day, take a few minutes here in stillness. It was an honor to guide you through your practice, and I hope to see you again real soon. I'll leave you with this gentle reminder to always be humble and to always be kind. Thank you. Namaste.